Hi folks, so this is about the MRI, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that have nervousness about doing an MRI, so this is to help you to feel a little more relaxed about it. It just so happened they had a cancellation and I was able to go in right away, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I thought I would be very, very claustrophobic going into the tunnel. But you know what they do? They make you close your eyes before you go in, so you don't know you're in a tunnel. If you're not putting your attention on it, you're okay. So it wasn't that bad. And as far as the other concern I had was staying still. They said I had to stay still for like 25 minutes. And I thought that was going to be very hard to do. Like, they literally were scanning section by section by section, and I thought, how am I going to stay exactly still? And then what happened is they clarified later that it's not really the whole body that has to stay still. It's just the part of the body that is being scanned, so
I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's just the part of the body that's being scanned that has to stay still. So therefore you can move the rest of the body a little bit if you want to, so that's not so bad. So essentially they were doing it in segments of like 3 minutes per segment, 2 minutes per segment, and you could move between the segments, and you knew the segments were going on because they had very loud noise, dung, 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 so loud noise. Even without hearing aids, I was able to hear the noises, so it was perfectly fine. So I hope that just knowing that sets your mind at ease. And you can actually talk to the technician before you go in so that you have a clear knowledge. And they also give you like an emergency, like a bell, so you can press on it. It's kind of like almost like a balloon that you press. The kind you use for babies, when you need to clear out mucus or something in their mouth. So you just sort of press on it, and you have control. You can tell them something's bothering me. And I ended up having a cramp because I was staying in the same position for so long. And they pulled me out of the tunnel, and I was able to move a little bit, and the cramp settled down, and I was able to go back in. So there were things that needed to be addressed, but they did get addressed. And the fact that you can talk to them and find out exactly what's going to happen, and you can kind of get a cooperation going that in case there is a problem, I can call you, or I can get you to stop, or I can, you listen to me. So all of these things were very, very helpful, but still, if you have any stress about the MRI before going in, or if you have any qualms or any nervousness, then let's just do a round of EFT on it so that you can lower your stress level, bring it down to 0 before you go in, and it's going to be so much better. I spoke to the technician. I said, I'm going to upload a video about this, and he said, I will help it go viral. So I'm definitely sending him the link, and he can send it to all the patients that he has that are going to do MRIs that he thinks may be a little nervous before this. So if you are, you can thank, I have his name somewhere, so you can thank him and, for helping you out by sharing this totally free video that I'm doing as a service to the community. So when we do EFT, we're tapping on acupressure meridian points, and we start with saying what is the problem 3 times by rubbing a point called the sore spot. How do you find the sore spot? You go from the crook in your neck, you go down 3 inches, 1, 2, 3, and you go to the left, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then within 2 inches you find a spot that is sore. So rubbing the spot, you find the sore spot, you rub the sore spot, and then you say, even though I have this fear of having an MRI, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Keep rubbing. Even though I have this fear of having an MRI, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this fear of having an MRI, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. This fear. Now you're tapping 7 acupressure points. So 1, beginning of the eyebrow is 2, side of the eye 3, under the eye 4, under the nose 5. Here, this cleft between your lips and your chin. We call it the chin point, but it's not the chin, it's the cleft. So the cleft, and then finally, this is like the 2 bumps here. At your collarbone, you go ½ an inch under, you tap these 2 bumps, and then 3 inches under the arm. So counting from the armpit, 1, 2, 3, you're going 3 inches under. So these are the points we want to tap, and we tap them a few times. So we already did, even though blah, blah, blah. Now we're going this fear of MRI. This fear of the MRI. This nervousness. Afraid I will be claustrophobic. So afraid of the claustrophobia. So afraid. So afraid. Sorry, this camera is shaking. It's just I'm holding it with the other hand. I didn't bring the tripod with me while I was traveling. This fear. This fear. This fear. This nervousness. This anxiety. You can test to see before you start on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest and 0 being the lowest, how much is your nervousness about it? It could be a 7 out of 10. I'm telling you, I was like an 8 out of 10 before they explained it to me. Unfortunately, it was a peon who was telling me what was going on, and it shouldn't have been. It should have been the technician. And the technician was busy on the phone talking to another customer. So finally, by the time the technician explained it to me, it was a lot more palatable. The fact that I could go into the room, and the fact that everything was explained, and I felt I had some control, that I could press the emergency button if I was nervous, or if I felt claustrophobic, or if it just made me feel so much more peaceful, and it was very easy. It was actually very easy to stay still. So, afraid of having to stay still. 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 Afraid of claustrophobia. Afraid of claustrophobia in the tunnel. One tip, please just close your eyes and you won't be claustrophobic. But let's tap on it. Afraid of the claustrophobia. 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 So just keep doing as many rounds as you need to in order for you to feel more relaxed about the whole procedure. And let's say you were like a 7 or 8 out of 10, and now you're 3 out of 10. You've already brought it down a great amount. You can maybe tap 1 or 2 more rounds to bring it down to a 0. And another thing is just talk to the technicians, because they explain things really well, especially if you're going to, a good MRI clinic. Somebody will take the trouble to explain it to you. And the one I went to had some really nice people. And once they had the time to talk to me, it really, really helped. So that's a little tip I'm giving you, is talk to them and get a sense that you have some control over the situation so that you don't feel so nervous. So here I've done like 4 or 5 rounds. If you've been tapping with me by now, just close your eyes, tune in, and see what does it feel like. If you were 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, is it a 3 now? Is it a 2 out of 10? Is it a 1 out of 10? Is it a 0? If not, just rewind and tap a few more times, a few more rounds, and bring it down to a 0. So I wish all of you the very, very best in your MRI, and I hope this video has been of some help to you. And I hope the fact that I've actually been through it now, and I'm doing the tapping after having been through it and given you a few tips, will be helpful for you to be able to face your own MRI with a little less stress, with a little less anxiety, with a little less nervousness. And I hope that the tapping has helped you remove what the tips didn't do. Okay, thank you very much. And if any of you would like to work with me, then check out my email address below. You can write to me and schedule a session. We can work on WhatsApp or Skype or phone or whatever. You do not have to be in the same town as me to do a session with me. I can do the applied kinesiology work and testing you over the phone as well. So enjoy your MRI. You can actually enjoy it. And keep in mind, each sequence of actual MRI imaging is only 2 or 3 minutes. So between the sequences, you can move a little bit, and so that makes it much easier. And you only have to keep still the part where they are doing the imaging, and the rest of the body you can move. All right, so happy MRI imaging.